Menteri Rangba Kajala Conrad ki sangma hag khatsau trik nailar ulapan bena bak Sorkar kan thung daki trai shnong kum ki tourist assistance ne ki nong betin lenti ki nong wan shangkai purthei knang bakandan ka jing shngain ya ki bri ki bawan nashabar Kajala ka thong hi ka long ban pelong ki tourist bakin sngo shngain bat ban pentik na ba ki yo ki jing tep ki badai biang lingba ki tourist assistant ki ban phongru daki uniform ong chief minister habakran ha ka jingalang ya mir jingmot bat ki kinhuan ki bapnya ya ka jingo kai purthei ha state convention center Shillong na kalyang chief minister ulapan pawru halor ka jingjia badangshen ka balakta ya ka kan jingo kai purthei da ka bayai ban halor ka jingdan kam ban yatel lilang ban yale persya ya ki bakum kini ki jingjia Shu ha ketika jingalang Menteri Rangba bat Menteri Katna Tourism uba polingdo kila pelait ru ya ke autumn tourism calendar kabakan thup ya kitarik na kabenta ka Shillong Literary Festival kabala ap khmi lenti bha ka banlong ha ka khat ar hadu khat saw tarik unai wing Shillong Cherry Blossom Festival ha ka khat san hadu khat rio tarik unai wing Migong Festival ha ka khat rio tarik ar pandai hadu lai pho nai wing The Hills Festival ha ka rio hadu hinyo tarik no pra Brian Adam India Tour ha ka shipho tarik no pra but Winter Tales ha ka khat ar hadu khat saw tarik no pra nalor ki wepan Shu lapun benaru halor ka jingat rilang bat ka Japan kum ka paralok na kabenta ka Shillong Cherry Blossom shibenta jong ka ni ka Sinjam antaw ya ka Japan zone ka ban pen I ya ka jing pair bat ka Kolshore Barrios pa ka Japan
taxis that came into our state, and as you are all aware that this is something that should never have happened, and you will also agree that this is something that doesn't help any of us. Yes, there is an entire ecosystem. We are part of this ecosystem. We all have a role to play in it. But if somebody disturbs the system, as I said, it is so fragile that even a whisper and it will disappear. That's how sensitive things are. And therefore what happened was unfortunate, and it has impacted, let me tell you, it has impacted, and you know it better because you saw the cancellations that took place. I know it because I've been speaking to many people from the other states and our own state, and I know the overall picture that's happening. It's not a good thing. So therefore, coming to the point, is that we have to take responsibility as a society about it. We have to take responsibility as stakeholders in this. Yes, police has its role to play, but police cannot be, present every moment at every junction at any point in time. The incident could take place there and then, and police may arrive a bit later, but the damage is already done. So my appeal to all of you is that we need to sensitize our people in this entire process. Our Rangba Shnongs have to take role. I was listening to the speech, of course, Paul translated some of it to me. He was mentioning about how the local headmen are mentioning that they should be made part of the discussion. Absolutely correct. So how can we keep the tourists busy for 5 days at least? And how can we make the 5 days active enough and interesting enough so that the tourists will stay? So we have a lot of things that are happening. My personal suggestion and the lowest hanging fruit and the most important thing to do right now is really to focus on this packaging. This is what I strongly feel. And I would like to suggest to the stakeholders, to our tour operators, to our officials, that while we look at trying to get more tourists, while we look at trying to create more infrastructure, while we look at trying to have more taxis and more rooms and more advertisement happening, I think it's important to realize that this 12 to 14 lakh tourists who we are getting out here, how do we ensure that this same number of 10, 12, 15 lakh tourists that are coming in, who may be spending say about 500 rupees per day per person, how can we make sure that they spend from 500 to another 1,000 rupees? And I think that is the most probably the easiest and the quickest way to really improve. So while we look at the long term and say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, we have that target, which I'm sure we will achieve and we will move towards it. I think it's important to make these 10, 12, 14 lakh tourists, number one, satisfied and happy, and find ways in which we can make them spend a bit more, whether it's by one photograph we take, and ensure that that photograph is then converted into a nice portrait, and that is given to the tourists. A lot of places do that, but then our entrepreneurs need to be engaged to be able to do these kind of things. Whether it's the small ice cream that they may want to buy or some food they may want to buy. So making sure that the spending amount goes up, I think would be the most important way in which we can move forward. And I would urge the department and especially our director that if we can figure out even one additional activity in each of these critical circuits that we could introduce, engage these people, our entrepreneurs into that, talk to Prime. Prime is our entrepreneurship program that we have. Support them. I'm ready to help these entrepreneurs with my CM Elevate scheme and allow them to start those activities. I think that would be a great way to ensure that we're able to move forward immediately and take things. So as I said, yes, more roads are required. I don't disagree to that. But then you will also be happy to know that we have made 3 times more roads in the last 5 years than were made in the last 20 years. So that's the large number of roads we have made in the last 6 years. As I said, in the last 20 years, roads we made 3 times more roads just in the last 6 years. So roads are being made as we speak. Mobile towers, more than 2,000 mobile towers have been put up in different parts of the additional, I'm talking the last 2 to 3 years, compared to what it was, 4-5 years back. And still we require more. So these activities will continue. Are they enough? Absolutely not. We need to do more. We need to be maybe more specific. We need more details on the high tourist zone areas and develop those roads. And if there is any gap and shortcoming in very important connectivity roads, I'll be happy to ensure that we take it up. With this Molynong area, which was mentioned by the Shnong out there, I think it's critical. I would request a director to make sure that this is mentioned in the minutes, and I will ensure that PWD department takes it up. I will take personal interest in that. Like that, if there are any very important critical tourist destinations which require immediate connectivity, I will take it up myself personally, so you can give that list to us. What we have in our hand, how do we make it better? Sometimes we want to grab so many things and not realizing that what we already have, and we're not even, maximizing the efficiency in that. So that is where the real challenge lies. So yes, we need to see how we can increase our overall base, get more people. Absolutely, that is a must. But while we do that also, how do we ensure? As I said, I keep using this very simple example that if 10 lakh tourists spend 1 rupee, that means we get 10 lakhs. If 10 tourists spend 10 lakh tourists spends 10 rupees, that's 1 crore. If 10 lakh tourists again spend 100 rupees, that's 10 crores. If 10 lakh tourists spend 1,000 rupees, that's 100 crores. And if 10 lakh tourists spend 10,000 rupees, that's about more than 10,000 crores. So it's a simple zero if you keep adding. So how do we make these 10 lakh tourists spend more and create the small avenues for them to spend? I think is key to ensuring that we are able to get more out of our tourism sector simply by just restructuring, rearranging, rationalizing what we already have and creating good experience for our tourists.